Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my video blog. This is Mike Tchobanian with Vegas Capital Realty. Today, I have a very exciting topic to discuss, which is very important to all families out there. I have Mrs. Larissa Drohobyczer with us. She's an attorney, and she specializes in estate planning. Thank you very much for joining us, Larissa. I really appreciate your time, and I really appreciate all the knowledge that you're going to give us and help us, especially with the people that need help with their family trust. So first thing first, can you please give us a quick summary about what you do and what is your background and what do you specialize in?
Sure. Hi, thank you for having me, and I'm glad to be on and helping to educate everybody who is watching. My name is Larissa Drohobyczer, as you mentioned, and I am an estate planning and probate attorney. And what that means is I set up plans for people to distribute their wealth when they pass away, or to determine what's going to happen to their wealth and their assets if they become incapacitated. So I help everyday people protect their assets and pass on inheritances to their loved ones.
Excellent. That's very interesting. So, Larissa, what is the primary benefit of setting up a family trust?
The primary benefit of setting up a family trust is probate avoidance and guardianship or conservatorship avoidance.
And how could that benefit a family in general?
Well, a lot of people don't understand that when a loved one passes away, normally if there's no estate plan in place, the state has one for you, and it's called court. And to avoid court, having to go to court when family passes away or something happens to families, you can set up a family trust or revocable trust to hold assets, and you appoint a successor to manage it in the event of incapacity or death.
So to help the families to set it up and to avoid court. And in general, what is wrong with court versus going through a family trust or having a family trust? What is the bad side of going through court?
It's expensive. You have to normally pay lawyers to help you, or it's confusing and complex. There are a lot of delays. So if you want your family to be able to access money immediately, if something happens to you, then you're going to want to get an estate plan done and avoid court, because court takes a long time, and it also opens up the door to family conflicts. Okay. So it's good to have a plan laid out, set in stone, so that nobody can dispute it and nobody has to go to court.
I understand, yeah. And I've heard in some cases it could cost up to $15,000 to $20,000 in fees, right? When someone doesn't have.
They can be very high.
Very high.
Correct.
So Larissa, when you say it takes a long time when it goes to court, what is a long time? 6 months or a year or longer than that?
Sometimes it can be longer. The average probate is taking up to a year in Clark County, Nevada, where I practice law. And sometimes it can be longer. We have cases that have been going on 2 and 3 years. So it depends on how complex the estate is, who the creditors are. There's a lot of factors that go into the length of time, but it is time consuming.
Got it. And is this mainly pertaining to real estate, or does it also have to do with other assets, like if someone has money, stocks, or any other?
Correct. It's all assets that are owned by a person when they either become deceased or incapacitated that are not held in a trust or jointly held assets.
Okay. And you also mentioned a problem with family fighting over the assets or the inheritance. This could just kind of clarify everything and simplify it, and everybody gets what they're supposed to.
Well, when you create an estate plan, you will lay out who's going to get what out of your money and your belongings, and that cuts down on fighting between family members. A lot of times when people pass away, it does bring out greed in families and the worst. So having a plan set in stone avoids conflict in the family and any disputes.
Yes. Yeah, I understand. You know, one thing I've noticed, a lot of people don't have family trusts when they buy a house, sell a house. And I understand how much trouble this could cause them. Once they do set up a family trust, how much of, it will release, and basically planning is important and they'll have no stress moving forward. Now, I understand there's different types of family trusts. Can you please explain that? What does that mean in general?
Well, the normal family trust is the revocable living trust. There are other types of trusts out there, but they're not the revocable living trusts. There's a whole alphabet soup of types of trusts that can be set up, and mostly for tax planning for very wealthy individuals. So the types of trust that is applicable to 99% of the population is going to be the revocable living trust or family trust.
Who will have control over the trust assets? And can this control be divided or shared by other people?
So when a person creates a trust, if they have capacity and they're fully able to manage their affairs, they will be in control of the trust until they become incapacitated. And then they've already named successor trustees who can step in, and they can name one person or two people to share that role to manage the assets.
So it is maximum two in general. That's the rule.
Yeah, two is usually for successors, trustees, but you can name as many people as you want to inherit your property.
Okay, got it. And from what I understand, they always say make sure the person you choose are younger than you. So
Not necessarily, because anybody can pass away at any time. So just because the person's younger doesn't mean that they're going to outlive the creator of the will. Accidents happen and things like that. But it should be somebody that you trust, somebody that's responsible, and somebody who has capacity to do so.
Got it. And as a trustee, what are their duties usually? Is there anything they need to do, or is there any specific responsibilities?
Well, the trustee manages the assets according to the directions that the trust maker created. So their duties are to manage the assets effectively and manage it for the benefit of the beneficiaries.
And that only comes up when is needed. So during the whole time until someone's alive, they don't have to do anything, right?
Correct.
Got it. How easy is it? Sometimes people pick a beneficiary and then they change their mind. Even that beneficiary, if they pass away, how easy is it to alter or change the beneficiaries or change anything in the trust? Is that a complicated?
It's easy. No, it's not complicated. So it's easy to do as long as the individual still has the capacity, so they're able to understand what they're doing to make the changes. And on a revocable living trust, you can change it at any time prior to incapacity or death.
Nice. Very nice. Some people talk about the trust as a protection from creditors or lawsuits. Is that something that the trust does as well, or that's not true?
An asset protection trust can protect against lawsuit and creditors. That's a different kind of trust than the revocable family living trust. But yes, you are correct.
What is that trust called? The one that does protect?
An asset protection trust.
Okay, so that's just okay. How can I use a family trust to provide for minor children if there's kids?
So the trust will basically be set up as a trust fund for any minors, so that if you want them to inherit money, it's in a trust fund for them and there's a trustee over it. So it's better because minors cannot inherit money directly until they're 18 years old when they're a full adult.
That's very interesting. And also, I understand when you set up family trusts, you do want to make sure that you are protected if someone is incapacitated as well, correct?
Yes, that is what the trusts do. It will protect against incapacity or death.
Got it. Okay. Setting family trust, does it protect the person from any kind of state taxes, or are there any?
No, not from state. Well, it will protect a person from estate taxes. So the death tax when a person dies, trust can accomplish tax savings on that. That's for ultra wealthy individuals with over $13 million because that's the current exemption amount. Some of this stuff gets really complicated. So if anybody ever has questions, they're welcome to reach out to me, contact me or my office if they're interested in getting any estate planning done or have questions of their own.
Yeah, definitely. And we're going to post your information at the bottom here. And if anyone have questions, anything about family trust, they can contact you directly. From what you think, do you think everybody needs a family trust, or is there guidelines to who would or would not?
Everybody needs an estate plan, and that doesn't necessarily include a trust. An estate plan would be everybody should have a power of attorney, a will, and a healthcare directive, and a HIPAA authorization. The people who are ideal for a trust would be individuals that own real estate, or that have minor beneficiaries, or that have beneficiaries that they want to protect from creditors or predators or themselves. So setting up trusts for beneficiaries is usually recommended depending on asset size or the types of beneficiary that a person will have.
Okay, that's great. Usually, what does it cost to do a family trust for someone who owns one or two houses, or doing everything that you mentioned that is a must?
Well, the prices of trust vary greatly from whether you get it done online or with an attorney, or if you get it done with a specialist. So I've seen trusts range anywhere with an attorney from $1,000 to up to $5,000, or sometimes for ultra wealthy individuals with tax planning, sometimes it could be $15,000 to $20,000. But for the average individual, they're looking to pay between $1,000 and probably $4,000 for a trust.
And that depends on the complexity of the trust and how much assets are involved.
Correct.
Different fees. Okay. I guess last question. When someone has a trust and they go buy another house or they add more real estate to their portfolio, what happens then? what's the
They need to make sure they add the home to their trust, and the trust is the owner of the home, because the trust will only work if the assets are aligned and funded into the trust.
And do you recommend for the trust to be reviewed every now and then, just to make sure everything's up to
Just
date?
every 3 years or upon a major life change.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Well, it's been very helpful. Great information, Larissa. Thank you very much for your time. Everyone out there, Larissa comes very highly recommended to us. If you have any questions about estate planning, anything, feel free to contact her directly. And anything I can help you with when it comes to buying or selling real estate, give us a call, Mike and Team Tchobanian.